So out of all the Need for Speed games I played, this is the one I'll always come back to. 2010's Hot Pursuit that has been remastered for the PS4, Xbox One and PC for its 10th anniversary. At this time it was technically current gen since the PS5 dropped a few days after that, so they just missed the window, but the game still ran well. We got all the DLC, additional cars, races and what have you. Technically this game is coming up to 16 years old, and I have to say back in 2010 this felt ahead of its time. The concept of Hot Pursuit is very simple. Play a mix of events as a racer or cop, level up to unlock more vehicles ranging across 5 tiers, with each tier increasing in value, speed and overall performance. We have Hot Pursuits of course, where racers compete in a point-to-point race whilst being chased by the cops. Interceptor events are where one cop goes up against one racer. The fugitives can behave strangely in these ones. These felt unique because each racer had a way of driving erratically to throw you off, so as a cop you have to pay attention. You've also got your standard races that are a lot more relaxed without the pressure of the popo. You've got time trials and rapid responses which are similar in essence, however cops have to reach a certain location before the time limit to not only get a distinction but to prevent a suspect from escaping. There's a few others as well, with one tied to multiplayer, so I'll explain that in a bit. Racers are tuned in a way where they aren't as fast. Most cars take a bit of time to get up to speed, but their NOS is a lot more potent and effective over long periods of use. Cops however are naturally faster, can reach their top speeds more efficiently than racers, and can hold their top speeds for longer, although their nitros is pretty weak in comparison to racers. Depending on some cars, you may be better off not using it anyway, as it doesn't contribute to a drastic change in top speed. The cop car is perfectly capable of doing it by itself. But why the hype? Why do I keep returning? Well, apart from what I've said prior, it's the combination of the dozens of beautiful cars I get to drive alongside the roads I can send them on. Hot Pursuit's map is fairly large, but it's carved in a way where most roads are pretty open, long stretches with highways and slight bends. Don't get me wrong, there are junctions and such, but the driving mechanics make any turn a breeze to get through. You see, Hot Pursuit adopted a somewhat unique drifting mechanic at the time, unique in the sense that I don't think many racing games had this style around then, but it was the principle of turning right to go left that you often hear about in the Cars films. Shout out to the homie Lightning McQueen.
So you gotta pitch it hard, break it loose, and just drive it with the throttle. Give it too much, you'll be out of the dirt and into the tool, put it simple. If you're going hard enough left, you'll find yourself just...
But it's the art of being able to drift like this at a very unrealistic 200 miles per hour. Logically speaking, attempting to do that IRL will only result in disaster, but Hot Pursuit made this look satisfying. The smooth transition of slowly gliding into a drift was really nice to look at, especially given how the roads were set. With dozens of bends, drifting was a lot more common. Once you'd mastered it, your races and free roam experiences would be a lot cleaner. The game advises you don't have to drift at every corner though. If you can hold the line, you'll be a lot faster, but sometimes a little tap on the drift button does the job. Now for controller players, it may depend on how you map your controls. I have it set to R2 for the accelerator, square for drifting and L2 for braking. I believe you can make L2 the drift button and square as the brake button as another preset, which gives you more control for drifting since L2 is an actual trigger, so applying a certain amount of pressure is easier. Buttons are a little more difficult though. You kind of have to start with a light tap, then let your analog stick increase or decrease the drifting angle. Or tap square again to make your approach sharper. I think I tried the other preset briefly, but other than that I've always had it like this, even though it's a little harder to execute. I probably have more time spent on racers simply because I enjoy the thrill of Hot Pursuits, the idea of wanting to finish first whilst minimizing as much damage as possible, squeezing through roadblocks and dodging spike strips at insane speeds. The cops in this game are pretty ruthless, I'd say. Now even though they are generally better performing vehicles in terms of top speed, there is a lot of rubber banding, scripted sections of races that you'll start to notice. Cops will forcefully follow you down shortcuts even if their original path doesn't coincide with that, like the game will literally just drop them behind you. It's nuts. And the reason I say this is because crashing is a major setback. Now there are 5 tiers of vehicles, all of which have varying speeds, performance, handling on different terrain. Taller cars are better on dirt for example, and overall, I think from my experience in multiplayer, the exotic tier seems to be the most favourable choice. The cars aren't too fast, they're fast but not incredibly fast, and there's plenty of vehicles to choose from in this category, whereas tiers like the Hyper series only have like 8 cars to choose from, most of which are just duplicates or different versions of the Koenigsegg and Bugatti. Not really a major problem, as this remastered version gave us a couple of extra cars from the DLC. The Gunpla Apollo is here and is an absolute beast in events, despite having the slowest top speed out of all the hypercars. A personal favourite of mine, not only in acceleration but appearance, is the Sesto Elemento. I love the way this car looks and sounds. The Diablo SV, GT2 RS are new ones as well for those who never got to try the DLC or with dedicated events. Some cars are better at drifting than others, so preferences do shift based on that as well. Like for me, the Grand Sport sounds amazing and it's really good on straights, but the drifting is a bit too weak for me, whereas the Gunpla Apollo's drifting is a lot more responsive, you know, and overall a better handling car even though it is the slowest. This doesn't just come down to drifting, however. Certain cars have better NOS output, like the McLaren F1. I don't know why, but the potency and speed build-up is a lot stronger on this car compared to other hypercars. So the more you play, the more you realise which cars perform best, what their strongest feats are, and so on.
Confirmed. Flight drifter authorized for you. Subject right to run the off-road. Target locked. Are you monitoring this? This guy's gonna do a lot of damage.
Multiplayer gives you the bigger picture as everyone uses the meta, I should say. For example, in the Super Series, the meta is most certainly the SLK Black Edition. Everyone is using that car. For Exotic, the Sesto Elemento, GT2 RS, Diablo SV, and the Dodge Viper are all popular choices. And for the Hyper Series, it's usually the McLaren F1 or the Gunpla Apollo, sometimes the Koenigsegg CCX. The downside is they ended up removing the Sterling Moss due to licensing issues. Unfortunately, it's still usable if you have the original game though, but that's the only problem, and I'm pretty sure that was a meta car in the Exotic tier. That thing was fire. Anyways, I got sidetracked. Back to crashing. Now I believe this is a throwback to the Burnout series, but whenever you crash, this sets you back a ton. You go through this funny animation of your car rolling around after an impact, and then a bit of a zoom in to show you what you've just put your car through. It's quite funny, but can be annoying if you're trying to get that perfect run so you can compete with your friends on the speed wall. You get to see a lot more of these when doing hot pursuits as a cop. It's good fun seeing how you can demolish a car depending on how you crash into it. Graphically speaking, it was definitely ahead of its time back on the PS3 and 360. The improvements they made to the remaster are visible, but I think you have to be really paying attention as the finer details show on the brand logos. Cars themselves from a close perspective looked a lot clearer and less pixelated, but that in itself isn't really all that noticeable from a distance. If you do a side by side, you'll notice the changes definitely. I'm just happy I got to experience active multiplayer sessions. I think they're all still active as of 2025, 2026, but it's a bit harder finding a lobby in every tier. Exotic and Hyper seem to be the most popular. If you're someone who likes slower vehicles such as the sports and performance category, you may find a couple of people, but the lobbies are harder to fill. You can pretty much play any event type that's available in the main story, even though there isn't really a story. You just sort of do a race, a chase, try finishing first place, you know? Multiplayer came with a really fun mode called Most Wanted, where one racer is randomly picked as the most wanted, and with the help of your team, you have to escape the cops. No time limit, no part of the map is off limits, the most wanted can go anywhere, and everyone will follow suit as they decide how the game ends really. They have a reduced weapon pool compared to their allies as they're meant to focus on escaping, your team is meant to protect you. Now I haven't touched multiplayer recently, the last time I played it was a few months ago. I imagine there are still people playing, especially since crossplay is possible. But with Forza landing on PlayStation recently and Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown still going strong, now I'm joking. But really, I think the saving grace is that this game was on PlayStation Plus back in January 2025, so just over a year ago now, and that brought a strong influx of players. But another year has gone by, so it's probably dwindling again. But that doesn't take away from the positives of this game. I'm so glad they put it on PlayStation Plus so people can experience it. Just really simple to get into, do a couple races and hop off. It's not as detailed in terms of making money, blacklist, rising on the leaderboard, no pursuit breakers, no real story, just straight racing really. Everyone's got the same character mode. Now in the grand scheme of things, there isn't much to do outside of that. Customization is very limited. In the remaster, they allowed you to create your own wraps and provided more color options for cars, but apart from that, there's no physical changes you can make to a car. No crazy spoilers, canards, exhaust types and positioning, and my guess would be due to licensing, so it's a bit bare bones in that department. However, there was a free drive option where you could roam around wherever, but that was it. No collectibles, nothing. There was a glitch that still works in the remastered version where you can free roam with a buddy by triggering it on a certain race. You'd have to reach a certain point of the event, then turn back to go to another point of the map where the barriers are no longer present, making the whole map accessible. But that was it really, so after completing all the events, unlocking all the cars just by playing the game, there isn't much to do apart from rinse and repeat. You know, play your favorite events again, try to beat your friends and play online. And honestly, for me, I'm cool with that. Whether that be every few weeks or so, I'll find some time just to hop back on and drive. And that's the longevity I see in it, and who knows, I'll probably keep jumping back on to play over the next few years. It's just that game, man. Definitely my most favorite Need for Speed ever, but what about you guys? Have you tried this Need for Speed? What are your thoughts? Do you still play it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Dre, take care and see you next time.